We're here at the National Stadium backstage tonight for TNA's live Impact Tour in Dublin, and we're joined by the one, the only James Storm. It's a privilege and a pleasure to have you here with us.
Hey man, it's great to be here. Plus we got the Led Zeppelin poster right above us, so what could be better? Oh wait, we're missing beer. That could be better.
It's a bit early, but you know we can maybe get a few rounds in, get the whiskies in. This lady looks like she could do with a drink, but that's for another story. So I want to go right the way back, I suppose, to when you started. I'm talking the days of developmental stuff, like you appearing on TV for the first time. I want to take the viewers back to your WCW days. So we'll keep this brief because I know it's all about TNA. But I wanted to ask you about when you started, like coming from something like Frontier Elite onto TV for the first time. Can you remember what it felt like to do your first TV?
You know, it was pretty cool. You know, we did like little regional stuff back in Nashville and stuff. But we actually had a really good group from the Nashville days. It was me, Chris Harris, Abyss, AJ Styles, this other guy named Cassie Riley, Eric Harris, and I mean just a lot of other talent that's actually has went through TNA. So it was actually a really good territory to wrestle in those days. And I remember when we got the call and we all went up to WCW, I was pretty happy. But then I found out we had to drive 8 hours up there. So once we got up there, and it was pretty exciting. Just we were doing the R&B security at the time, and it was exciting just to run out there and do that at the time.
Sure. Do you find that the differences, I suppose, between today's TV and TV at the time, a huge difference?
Yeah, I think back then there was a little bit more time for matches, for storylines to develop, and now with today's TV concept, it's hurry, get to the next match, So I think that kind of hurts wrestling, and because wrestling's all about storytelling to me, and it's pretty hard to tell a story in a 3-minute match.
This is it.
Of course, you were part of TNA from the very beginning. How did you actually get started with the company?
Terry Taylor, I was a good friend. I'm good friends with Terry Taylor, and he was telling me right after WCW went out that there's another group that was starting up, and Jeff Jarrett was one of the founders of it, and he's actually one of the guys that helped train me back when I started out training. I trained at his dad's house in Hendersonville. And it was in the old tobacco barn, and it was hot and just stinky, and it was rough. But it was one of those things where I paid my dues, and there was probably 70, 80 of us that signed up to try out for the school and stuff, and I was the only guy that made it out.
Of course, TNA is actually the biggest wrestling TV program here in Ireland and the UK, the most viewers. I suppose being there at the very beginning and seeing the company evolve over time, milestone after milestone, I mean, you must be very proud to see it all happen.
Yeah, I'm very proud, and it's especially all the guys that's been through TNA that without them none of it's possible. Especially the guys who were here at the very beginning, who worked for almost nothing just to get a TV show every Wednesday night, and then the guys who stuck around when they was bringing in all these other guys, and and now I'm the only one left from day one. So I think today with TNA's group that we have today is one of the hardest working groups that I've seen in TNA in a long time.
Are you surprised when you come over to European countries and see such a huge reaction from the fans?
No, not really. I think it's just because the U.S. fans are kind of spoiled just because they can go to a town just about any weekend and see, TNA show, and then, we only come over here once a year. So if you don't come to that show, then you miss out. And those people, they're definitely, there and get their money's worth. Plus, they're like me, they're about half drunk when they're out there, so it works out pretty good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you said you've been a TNA mainstay pretty much 12 years now. One time TNA World Heavyweight champion. Is it 12 time in total? Yeah. Tag team champions, you got to respect that. The difference between, I suppose, you spent a lot of your career in tag team competition, and the difference between, I suppose, from a psychological point of view, when you had to transition into singles competition, did you find it a big transition?
No, not really. Just a lot more bumps I had to take. In tag team wrestling, it's always good because if something happens and you get hurt, then you have a partner there that can kind of pick up the slack. But when you're on your own, you got to do it yourself. Sure. And I think that's the only thing is there's no one to depend on except for yourself. And right now I'm at that stage of my career, like that's what I want to do. I want to go out there and be a singles wrestler and just depend on myself to get the job done.
Sure. As well, I suppose winning the TNA Heavyweight Championship obviously was probably a career highlight. That aside, what if I said another TNA career highlight? What would be the first thing that comes to mind?
It'd probably be the first time that I actually won the tag team championship with Chris Harris. It was like I said, upstart company, and we were basically unknowns, and for the company at that time and Jeff Jarrett to have faith in me and Harris to be the tag team champions. I mean, it was pretty good. They had the guys like Brian Lee and Slash at the time, and it had Triple X and the Harris brothers. So I mean, even back then, even back then they had a good tag team division.
Yeah. And speaking of Chris Harris, I want to get your thoughts on the whole Braden Walker thing. Do you mind if I go there with that one?
No, it's just it's one of those things to me. Like he went up there and they test him. Just like I think if guys come here, they need to be tested. I don't think they need to be put right at the top. And you might have been a big shot in another company, but you need to prove your worth here. And same way when you go there, like they're not going to put you right at the top. Yeah. You need to prove yourself. And I think he just went up there with a mentality that he was going to be right on top. And
it's tough.
And he failed miserably.
I found a lot of fans speak a lot about beer money. Of course, your tag team with Robert Roode, to me the most impactful tag team since the Legion of Doom. What do you think was about that team that fans connected so much with?
I think it was just two total opposite guys. I mean, you had Bobby who came from Canada and me in the deep south, but we made it work. We were actually just kind of thrown together as a tag team, and we came up with the name Beer Money just because of what our characters did, and it just worked. Fans just stuck with it, and especially come over here. Hell, everybody loves to drink, so we were definitely over here. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like a couple of weeks ago there was a reunion. You got back together. Do you think it could happen again? That maybe you would be paired together?
It's wrestling. Never say never. It wasn't really a reunion as much as it was, storyline as me wanting to teach Gunner a lesson. But the fans wanted it. They wanted us to do the Beer Money suplex, and they wanted us to.
I think they wanted to teach Gunner a lesson as well.
Yeah, that too. And, they wanted this to chant Beer Money. So hopefully, like I said, you never know.
Of course, onwards to singles competition. Then you are, of course, a former World Heavyweight Champion, and now in competition once again. Maybe heading that way. Perhaps taking on Magnus at the show.
Yeah, and I always said, what better place to kick the crap out of a British guy than right here in Dublin, and then, win the World Heavyweight Championship while I'm at it.
The fans will love it, I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
I ain't got nothing against British people. It's just Magnus that I got a problem with. It's just how he basically turned himself on everybody, even his country. Like he just I'm sure that's not how they want to be represented like that. To me, like. Even if I was to, turn heel, I still wouldn't represent my people, so to say, like in a negative light like that.
Sure. I suppose as a World Heavyweight Champion, representing the company like that at the top, is it a lot of pressure to be in that spot?
It is. You get, signs and people talking and yapping in your ear from all different ways, saying you should do this and don't do this, and it's kind of hard. Who you should trust and who you don't, because I've been to the top, and your friends are not really your friends once you get up there.
Right. Yeah, I suppose it is a lot of pressure. I suppose, do you like that single solo spot, or would you prefer tag team wrestling?
Yeah, I at this point in my career, like I want to focus on being a solo and becoming the World Heavyweight Champion and holding it for a long time and showing the company that what they've missed out on, and that's hell, let this redneck beer drinking guy grab that belt and, and run with it.
The Beer Money term, for the want of a better word, was sorry about your damn look. I think the look of the Irish is going to be on your side tonight against Magnus.
I really hope so. It's Magnus is tough, but he I don't think he's been in the ring with someone like me, so it's going to be a knockout drag out.
There is Irish roots, I believe, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. My great grandfather is actually from Ireland, and it was funny because I actually, for the longest time, my brother he looks a lot Irish. Right. He has the red hair and the pale skin and everything. So for the longest time I always said that he was the milkman's baby. But then I actually found out that he has more of the Irish trade in him than I do. Yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask, we'll just talk about like tactics, I suppose, for tonight. Things you've learned over the years. I know from your time with Fortune, you had the likes of Ric Flair with you. What kind of stuff would you learn from Rick that you could have applied? I mean, going forward, was there valuable lessons in that time?
Yeah, win by any cost. And, they don't call him the dirtiest player in the game for a reason, and he taught us, a lot of tricks. He didn't teach us all his tricks, but it was really cool.
Kept some for the bedroom, I'm sure.
Right, exactly, just in case, you never know. And it was always cool, like hanging out with Rick, and especially listening to the stories of him back, in the Four Horsemen days and stuff. And it's just, me imagining how it was back then. It's
a whole different
world. Yeah.
What do you see for the future of TNA? Do you think it's going to continue to reach those milestones, hit those targets? I mean, so far so good, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I always tell people, I always hate the haters who, TNA's going out of business. Or, why are you hating on it? If you're a wrestling fan, like, you would always want like another alternative to watch. Especially your favorite wrestlers go there and make a living. And for people to talk like that, I always say, why do you even follow me on Twitter? If you don't talk negative about my company, then you're talking negative about me. And but to me, I think, like I said, I've been here since day one, and I just see the company every year just reach another milestone, and wrestling goes in dips. It has its ups and downs, and to me, it's on its way back up. There for a while, like it was kind of down there. A lot of people look at wrestling as like a black eye. They don't work. Some people don't want to be classified as wrestling fans or whatever. But like, I get on a plane all the time, and I'll meet businessmen in first class who are closet wrestling fans who like watch it. When they're flipping through, they'll see it, and it just reminds them of when they were kids and stuff, and they'll sit there and watch and stuff. So it's pretty cool. And like I said, a little bit, it's on its way back up.
It is a true alternative to what's out there. I suppose, what is different about the company? Do you think there is anything that maybe stands out to you about the company as opposed to any other?
I don't want to say that our locker room works harder, but I mean, we got some very passionate guys who are not there just to collect a paycheck. I mean, these guys, we want to go out, and whether it's 1,500 or 15,000 people, we go out there and we bust our ass, and we put on the same show, for those 1,500 people as we would those 15,000 people.
It's a big show coming up in the National Stadium. You've been here many times before. I suppose the fans here really love the National Stadium shows. I've seen the roof nearly come off with Mick Foley cutting promos. I mean, the reactions there, is it the same in America in terms of house shows?
Yeah, just it kind of depends on where you go. But like I said, it goes back to a lot of the American fans are spoiled just because they get it every week, and it's not here every week live, So to me, I think if it was the other way around, it would be the same way here. Like, if we were here every weekend, it would slow down, but then when we go back to America, it would pick up. It's just one of those things. We just got to kind of find a balance in between both of them.
You think it's something like that that's kept you, to go back to calling you a TNA mainstay for 12 years? You think, what is it about the company that's kept you with them and so loyal to it?
I want to see it grow. Like, I feel like this is, my baby also. I want to see it, reach that plateau, and I I like working with all the guys who come through, and
sure.
I got so many friends here, and I got a good relationship with Dixie Carter. She actually, she cares about her wrestlers. Like, she cares. She's a very family-oriented person. No matter what anybody says about her, like, if anybody has a problem, they can go up and talk to her. So she's very, reliable like that. And so to me, working with a boss like that in a company like TNA, sure. Like, this is no brainer.
She does get a lot of slack, but again, she's just doing her job, and she is the boss.
Right, exactly.
You got to adhere to it. I just want to talk briefly about your transition into reality TV. I believe there's a show in the works.
Yeah, I've been flying back and forth to LA. I don't think they know how to take me out there yet. They show up in all these suits and stuff, and here I am. I go in, it's just me and a couple buddies opening up a bar, and they're pretty interested in it. So hopefully, and I got a couple other things in the works that I can't really talk about, but it's gonna be pretty big.
Awesome.
And also, you were in a movie recently with a lot of your fellow wrestlers.
Yeah,
can you see that being a path maybe you might follow in the future as well?
I've talked to a couple of directors about being in some pretty big movies coming up, so hopefully hopefully that all pan out. You know,
bit of a transition from wrestling.
Because
to
you know, no matter what anybody says, you know, you can't wrestle forever. The body just can't hold up that way, and you know, and it's something that I don't want to really wrestle when I'm 60 years old. You know, so I want to go ahead and start trying to make this transition when I can, and also, you know, it helps get the TNA name out there. Also, like if I get my own reality show, if I get in some movies and stuff, you know, and cross promote with TNA, like, you know, it can only help TNA out.
Absolutely. Well, I suppose we won't keep you too long.
Yeah,
I want to say best of luck.
We need to ask though, the best Irish drink when you're here. What's your tipper?
I stick to the old Guinness.
Guinness.
Can't go wrong.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But actually, like it's weird because it just, for some reason, it tastes better here than it does in the States. I don't know what it is.
Right.
And like it's hard for me to explain to people, like when I drink it in the States, I'm like, man, just
doesn't compare.
Right.
Well, it's been awesome. We appreciate your time, James. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much.
The best of luck tonight against Magnus for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and hope you folks enjoy the interview.